Sitaram, and a pleasant good evening to each and everyone. Welcome to our Connecting Through Bhajans for this evening. Not our usual Wednesday Connecting Through Bhajans, but it will definitely be an enjoyable one. At this point, I would like to ask Govin if he can lead us in our opening prayer, followed by our first bhajan. Thank you.
Sitaram, everyone, and welcome again to our session this evening, Connecting Through Bhajan. So let's all join in a manner of prayer as we close our eyes and clasp our hands and focus on that Supreme Being. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. कंठ में जिनके विराजता है लाहर, गंगा जलम शीश पे बाए अंग विराज जिनके गिरिजा पत्नी स्वयं पार्वती नंदी कार्तिक गणपति के सहित केदारनाथ प्रभु केदार गिरि पे सदा ही रहते करते सदा मंगलम मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पार्वती नाथ सर्वमंगल मंगलम ओम शांति शांति शांति। तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा गणेशा, 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 तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा गणेशा। पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानन, पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानन, प्रणव स्वरूपा फरतिपुरीशा, प्रणव स्वरूपा फरतिपुरीशा, साई गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा, साई गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा, तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा गणेशा, 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 तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा गणेशा। पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानन, पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानन, प्रणव स्वरूपा फरतिपुरीशा, प्रणव स्वरूपा फरतिपुरीशा, साई गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा, साई गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा, तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा गणेशा, तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा। Sitaram.
Thank you, Govin. So now I'd like to invite Auntie Indra to do bhajan or kirtan for us, followed by Auntie Chansey, Sanya, and my mom. Thank you.
Sitaram, everyone. तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई। बल भोरे सारे कर्मों को देखे और सिखाई, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई। मन ही देवता मन ही ईश्वर, मन से बड़ा ना कोई। मन ही देवता मन ही ईश्वर, मन से बड़ा ना कोई। मन उजियारा जब जब भेले, जब उजियारा हो, एक उजले धर पदपन प्राणे, भूल न जमने पाए, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई। सुख के कलिया दुख के काटे, मन सबका धान। सुख के कलिया दुख के काटे, मन सबका धान। मन से कोई बात छुपे ना, मन की नैन हजार। जग से चाहे भागल कोई, मन से भाग न पाए, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई। भले बूढ़े सारे कर्मों को देखे और सिखाई, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई, तोरा मन दरापन कहलाई। Thank you, everyone. Sitaram again.
Namaste, everyone. It's so nice to have Govind here today after a long time. We know it is an effort because of his studies. So we're very happy to have you here, Govind.
जय 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 हे मधुसूदना, जय 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 हे मधुसूदना। जय वृंदावन मनमोहना, जय वृंदावन मनमोहना। जय 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 हे मधुसूदना। सुंदर साई शिरडी बिहारी, सुंदर साई परटी बिहारी। सुंदर साई शिरडी बिहारी, सुंदर साई परटी बिहारी। राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम। साई राम साई राम साई राम साई राम। जय 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 हे मधुसूदना। जय वृंदावन मनमोहना, जय वृंदावन मनमोहना। मधुसूदना सुंदर साई शिरडी विहारी सुंदर साई परटी विहारी सुंदर साई शिरडी विहारी सुंदर साई परटी विहारी राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम साई राम साई राम साई राम साई राम जय 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 हे मधुसूदना
Namaste, everyone.
Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Siddhi Vinayaka, Mangaladayaka, Siddhi Vidayaka, Mangaladayaka, Siddhi Vinayaka, Mangaladayaka, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Siddhi Vinayaka, Mangaladayaka, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Vigna Vinashaka, Moksha Pradayaka, Vigna Vinashaka, Moksha Pradayaka, Vigna Vinashaka, Moksha Pradayaka, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Vigna Vinashaka, Moksha Pradayaka, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Sankataharana, Jnana Pradayaka, Sankataharana, Jnana Pradayaka, Sankataharana, Jnana Pradayaka, Mukshaka Vahana Moria. Sankataharana, Jnana Pradayaka, Mukshaka Vahana Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Shri Ganaraya, Jai Ganaraya, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Moria, Moria, Ganapati Bappa Moria. Ganapati Bappa Moria. Ganapati Bappa Moria. Sitaram.
Thank you all very much. At this point, I would like to ask Mrs. Ramdas if she can do a bhajan for us, and then we will go into our Bacho Ka Khan segment for this evening. Thank you.
Hi, Sitaram. Sitaram, everyone. Since it's the Sahara, I will sing a Ganga song. So okay. गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना पार गंगा ऊपर जमुना पार गंगा ऊपर जमुना बिछुआ में गंगा बिछुआ में धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना पार चंदा ऊपर सूरज पार चंदा ऊपर सूरज बिचमा में तारा उगे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना पार रामा ऊपर लक्ष्मण पार रामा ऊपर लक्ष्मण बिछुआ में सीता हरे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना पार बेरा ऊपर चमेला पार बेला ऊपर चमेला बिचवा में फूले ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना गंगा तेरे धारा बहे ना बोलिए गंगा माता की जय।
Thank you, Mrs. Ramdak. So now I would like to pass over to Sanya for tonight's Bacho Ka Khan segment. Thank you.
Sitaram everyone and welcome to Bachu Ka Khan. Tonight our opening prayer will be done by Zarina.
Sitaram. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Sitaram.
So tonight our presenters are a little boy named Kavi Harold, myself and Uncle Govind as our young adults. Kavi Harold will be 6 in this year and he's 7 now. And he's 6 this year and is going to be 7. He attends the Sai Radha Krishna Gokulam and attends Chinmaya Vidyalaya. I will now pass over to Kavi for his bhajan, which is entitled Harinarayana.
Sitaram, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Jai Ram, Ram Ram. Ayodhya Shri Shri Ramachandra, Ananda Rupa, Jaya Jaya Ram, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Jai Ram, Ram Ram. Jai Ram, Ram Ram, Jai Ram, Ram Ram, Sita Ram, thank you.
Thank you, Kavi. Now I will be reading a piece which is entitled World Ocean Day. World Ocean Day is observed on the 8th of June every year. In observance, I will be reading a piece written by Subhamoy Das. It's based on the Ganges River. Though not an ocean, the river Ganges is sacred to Hindus. The Ganges, Hinduism's holy river. Why the Ganges is considered sacred? The river Ganges, running for more than 1,500 miles across the same of the most densely populated areas in Asia, is perhaps most religiously significant body of water in the world. The river is considered to be sacred and spiritually pure, though it is also one of the most polluted rivers on earth. Originating from the Gangatori Glacier, high in the Himalayas of northern India, the river flows southeast through India into Bangladesh before spilling into the Bay of Bengal. It is the primary source of water used for drinking, bathing, and irrigating crops for more than 400 million people. For Hindus, the river Ganges is sacred and revered, embodied by the goddess Ganga. Though images of the goddess varies, she is most often depicted as a beautiful woman with a white crown riding the makra, which is a creature with the head of a crocodile and tail of a dolphin. She features either 2 or 4 arms holding a variety of objects, ranging from water lilies into a water pot of rosaries. As a nod to the goddess, the Ganges is often referred to as Ma Ganga or Mother Ganga. Because of the purifying nature of the river, Hindus believe that any rituals performed at the banks of the Ganges or in its water will bring fortune and wash away impurity. The waters of the Ganges are called Gangajal, meaning literally water of the Ganges. The Puranas say that the sight, the name, and the touch of the Ganges cleanses one of all sins, and that taking a dip in the sacred river bestows heavenly blessings. There are many renditions of the river Ganges, mythical origins, owing in part to the oral traditions of India and Bangladesh. It is said that the river gave life to the people, and in turn, people gave life to the river. The name of Ganga appears only twice in the Rig Veda, an early sacred Hindu text, and it was only later that Ganga assumed great importance as of the goddess Ganga. One myth, according to the Vishnu Purana, an ancient Hindu text, illustrates how the Lord Vishnu pierced a hole into the universe with his toe, allowing goddess Ganga to flow over his feet into heaven and down to earth as the waters of the Ganges. Because she came into contact with Vishnu's feet, Ganga is also known as Vishnupadi. Another myth details how Ganga was intent to wreaking havoc on earth with her descendants as a raging river seeking revenge. In order to prevent the chaos, Lord Shiva caught Ganga in the tangles of his hair, releasing her in the streams that became the source for the river Ganges. Another version of the same story tells how it was Ganga herself who persuaded the nurture the land and the people below the Himalayas, and she asked Lord Shiva to protect the land from her force by falling and catching her in his tears. Though the myths and legends of the river Ganges are numerous, the same reverence and spiritual connection is shared among the population that live along the banks of the river. The banks of the river Ganges host hundreds of Hindu festivals and celebrations each year. For example, on the 10th of the month, the Jaitastha in the Ganga Dussehra celebrates the descendants of the sacred river to the earth from heaven. On this day, a dip in the holy river while invoking the goddess is said to purify sins and wipe away physical ailments. The Kumbh Mela, another sacred ritual, is a Hindu festival during which pilgrims to the Ganges bathe themselves in the sacred water. The festival occurs in the same place only every 12 years, though a Kumbh Mela celebration can be found annually somewhere along the river. It is considered to be the world's largest peaceful gathering. Burning prayers seen during cremation ceremonies in Manikarna Ghat on January 28, 2018 in the Varanasi, India. Manikarna Ghat is one of the holiest among the sacred riverfronts alongside the river Ganga. It is believed that the human soul finds salvation, moksha, when cremated here. The land over which the Ganges flow is regarded as hallowed ground, and it is believed that the holy waters of the river will purify the soul and lead it to a better reincarnation or liberation of the soul from the cycle of life and death. Because of these strong beliefs, it is common for Hindus to spread cremated ashes of dead loved ones, allowing the sacred water to direct the soul for the departed. Ghats or flights of stairs leading to the river along the banks of the Ganges are known for being holy Hindu funeral destinations. Most notably, the Ghats of the Varanasi in the Uttar Pradesh and the Ghats of the Haridwar Uttarakhand, spiritually pure but ecologically dangerous. Though the sacred waters are linked into the spiritually purity of the Ganges, is one of the most polluted rivers in the world. Nearly 80% of the sewage dumped into the rivers is untreated, and the amount of human fecal matters is more than 300 times in the limits set by India's Central Pollution Control Board. It is an addition to the toxic waste caused by the dumping of insecticides, pesticides, and metals and industrial pollutants. These dangerous levels of pollution do little to deter religious practice from the sacred river. Hindus believe drinking water from the Ganges brings fortune, while immersing oneself or one's belongings brings purity. Those that practice these rituals may become spiritually clean, but the pollution of the water afflicts thousands with diarrhea, cholera, diphtheria, or even typhoid each year. Thank you for listening, and Sitaram. I will now pass over to our young adult, which is Uncle Govind.
Thank you very much, Sanya. Right, so today I'll be doing a Ganga bhajan for you all. So I hope that you all enjoy it. Just give me 1 second. हे गंगा तू जहाँ से आए उनका पता बता दे उनका पता बता दे हे गंगा तू जहाँ से आए उनका पता बता दे उनका पता बता दे हे मैया तेरी चरण में आए उनका पता बता दे उन्हें का पता बता दे। हे गंगा, हे गंगा, हे गंगा, हे गंगा। ऋषि मुनियों जीवन गाते, ऋषि मुनियों जीवन जाते, शिव कैलाश बती बतला दे। ऊंच शिखर समाधि लगाए, ऊंच शिखर समाधि लगाए, उन्हें का पता बता दे, उन्हें का पता बता दे। हे गंगा तू जहाँ से आई, उन्हें का पता बता दे, उन्हें का बता दे। शिव शंकर वो बोले वाले, सारे जग के वो रखवाले, सिंह जिनकी पार्वती माई, सिंह ही जिनकी पार्वती माई, उन्हें का बता दे, उन्हें का बता दे। हे गंगा, हे गंगा, हे गंगा तू जहाँ से आई, उन्हें का पता बता दे, उन्हें का बता दे। हे गंगा तू जहाँ से आई, उन्हें का पता बता दे, उन्हें का बता दे। हे मैया तेरी शरण आए, उन्हें का पता बता दे, उन्हें का बता दे। हे गंगा, हे गंगा, हे गंगा, हे गंगा। Sitaram?
Thank you, Kavi and Uncle Govind and Zarina. So we hope you enjoyed tonight's Bachu Kakan and we hope to see you next time. Sitaram and thank you.
Thank you all very much. It was nice having Kavi on this evening and also Uncle Govind. We haven't heard Uncle Govind singing in a very long time. So as we move on, I would like to ask Anjoy if she can do the next bhajan or kirtan for us, followed by Auntie Mala and my mom. Thank you.
Sitaram. जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी, जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी, हारत पाप कटत यम फासी, जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी, जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी, भक्ति प्रदाता जग का दाता, भक्ति प्रदाता जग का दाता, आनंद बन का आनंद राशि, जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी, जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी, घट घट व्यापी परम प्रतापी, घट घट व्यापी परम प्रतापी सेवत पर सुर नर सन्यासी जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी जय 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 शिवाज विनाशी महदयालु परम कृपालु महदयालु परम कृपालु गिरिजारानी जाके दासी जय 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 शिवा जय विनाशी जय 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 शिवा जय विनाशी सेवक प्रभु श्री लाल चरण का सेवक प्रभु श्री लाल चरण का मुक्त करो आनंद बनवासी जय 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 शिवा जय विनाशी जय 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 शिवा जय विनाशी हारत पाप कटत यम फासी जय 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 शिवा जय विनाशी जय 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 शिवा जय विनाशी Sitaram.
Sitaram, a few verses from Bhaja Govindam. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapti Sannihite Kali, Nahi nahi rakshate dukranya karani. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Nalani Dhalagat Jalamati Tararam, Tadvajivita Shayatapalam, Vidhi Vyadabhyanakrasam, Lokam Shokam Tam Chasamasam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Udhamate, Satya Sangatve Nisasangatvam, Nisasangatve Niramohatvam, Niramohatve Nishchalatatvam, Nishchalatatve Jivanamukti. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam, Iha Samsare Bahudustare, Kripaya Pare Pahi Murari. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Continue to chant the name of Bhaja Govindam all the days of your life. Sitaram.
Sitaram, everyone. माँ तेरी ममता कितनी प्यारी, कितना प्यार जगाती है माँ कितना प्यार जगाती है। माँ तेरी ममता कितनी प्यारी, कितना प्यार जगाती है माँ, कितना प्यार जगाती है। श्वास श्वास की रक्षा करती, श्वास श्वास की रक्षा करती, पग पग प्राण बचाते हैं माँ, कितना प्यार जगाती है। तू ऋषियों की रिद्धि सिद्धि, तू ब्रह्मा की भक्ति माँ, तू विष्णु की माया देवी, तू शंकर की शक्ति माँ, तू हाथों से भाग जगाती, भागी भागी आती है माँ, कितना प्यार जगाती है। माँ तेरी ममता कितनी प्यारी, कितना प्यार जगाती है माँ, कितना प्यार जगाती है। तू काली महाकाली दुर्गा, तू है बाल भवानी माँ, तू पुराण का तार शारदा, तू वेदों की वाणी है, तू बालक को गोद मिले कर जीवन गीत सुनाते हैं माँ, कितना प्यार जगाती है। माँ तेरी ममता कितनी प्यारी, कितना प्यार जगाती है माँ, कितना प्यार जगाती है, कितना प्यार जगाती है। Thank you.
Thank you all. So I'd like to pass over now to Auntie Chancy for our catechism piece this evening. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. As you would realize, the person in charge is changing up things a little bit. So I'm just going with the flow. This talk that I'm going to do was really supposed to be done last week, but because of what happened last week, we decided to put it off. But it has gained renewed or even more importance because of what we are celebrating today, both in the Hindu calendar and also in the international calendar, which is today is the World Ocean Day, as Sanya was referring to. So, as we begin today, I would like you to have a look at some of the pictures on the screen. You would see a series of different ones coming up. These were sent to me by a resident foreigner who has been trying her utmost to keep this area clean. Now, not the sargassum weed, but the garbage. Shabana, no, not these as yet, just the garbage. For months now, this kind lady has been going and cleaning up the space above by herself. Part of this problem, believe it or not, is refuse and garbage left after persons perform puja. Yes, I said puja. And people continue to dump. As they come and they see a heap, they continue to dump. I find this incomprehensible, unacceptable, and disgraceful. What does this point to? Shabana, you could remove the pictures now. Is it that we only engage in mechanical ritual worship? Ignorance and apathy? A fundamental misunderstanding of what the nature of God and exactly what is puja? In the recent past, I looked at the Hindu tradition's teachings on the environment, God's immanence within all of creation, the point of Bhuta Yajna as part of our Nitya Karma in the Pancha Mahayajna, our obligatory duty, daily duty. We talked about pilgrimages, our waterways. How could we pray? And this is even more significant today because of what we are celebrating today. We are praying and singing all these chants to Mother Ganga, and we say, all waterways are connected. We pray, but then we defile. It's strange that only when we are doing puja or during religious celebrations that aspects of nature are treated with respect and worshipped. Then at other times, we could not care less. We litter, we defile, we dump wantonly. Suddenly, it seems the Lord's presence is not recognized. The Lord disappears somehow. In every aspect of the Hindu tradition, God's presence in all life and all of creation is recognized and reiterated. The very act of puja, with all its offerings derived from nature, it underscores the critical and fundamental importance of the earth itself. Dharati, Prithvi, Bhumi, and of course the waterways, Ganga, Yamuna, all the pilgrimage sites. Bhuta Yajna, which is a legitimate way to reach God, this is also underscored. Even in the Antyeshti Sanskar, funeral rites and rituals, offerings of food, etc., are given to different forms of life. Those that live in the air, on land, in the water. Have you ever asked yourself why? It points to the ancient understanding of symbiosis and interdependence in all of creation. Again, God's immanence. Somehow we perform all the offerings on puja days, but for the rest of the year, they become insignificant. And someone was reminding me of a common practice that people do, where after pujas, they take all the flowers and all the different things that are used in puja to waterways. So they put it into the river. And then the bag in which they took all the materials, they then stuff it into if there's a bridge or whatever there may be, and push it into a tree and they leave. So really, what are we doing? We believe in something, but our practice says something different. Do we think when we do these things? Only last week, the world celebrated World Environment Day. And I was going to ask last week, how would we be celebrating? There is a disconnect between our belief systems, our philosophy, our teachings, and our practice. And this has to be, it has to be closed. This big gap that exists has to be closed. Only last week, puja was performed under the peepal tree. There are many reasons that a peepal or Ashwatha tree is revered in the Hindu tradition. I am certain some of this was explored and shared on Sunday. This is 2 Sundays ago, of course. I would like to share a few more that directly relate to environmentalism. Ficus religiosa is the botanical name for the peepal tree. It is one of the few trees that produce oxygen even at night time. We all know that plants respire. Usually they produce oxygen during the day, and at night they take in oxygen and give you carbon dioxide. But this is a very special tree, one of a few trees that does this. It produces oxygen 24/7. We all know that trees respire, but this is really very special. Life-giving oxygen is produced all day, all night. This is incredibly significant as we know the importance of oxygen and clean air. There are many reasons why the peepal tree has such great significance. And I will share some more that directly relate to the environment. It helps to control soil erosion because, as you know, the type of roots, it grows in poor and depleted soil. In Trinidad, we may not be facing this challenge, but in a lot of places in this world, there's a problem with soil and the fertility of the soil. How many places you have the top layer, which is a fertile layer, being blown away. For most people, you would understand and appreciate the whole idea of the Dust Bowl that took place in the United States around the Great Depression. Permaculture and soil management is now engaging the minds of so many countries, governments, because of course it directly relates to food security. So this simple tree, it absorbs dust and sound. And 50 types of ailments, can you believe? I am not making these things up, and I would like you to go and look for yourself, do some research. It improves lung power, well, obviously because of the oxygen. It arrests nasal bleeding. It boosts cardiac health, pacifies ear pain, so many different things. It is so. This is why our ancestors thought it very important that we had to have this tree. Air pollution is a very real threat to human survival. And studies have shown the causal links between high traffic areas, usually with very few trees, and autism and all those diseases within that spectrum, including Alzheimer's. So instead of chopping, we should be planting. And you know, I know a lot of people are very concerned about trees falling and so on, but there are different types of trees, there are different sizes, and if you research, you would know exactly what is appropriate for you. This is the reason our ancestors brought all of these seeds so that they can grow. They understood the importance, and this is why it plays such an integral part in every observance. Shabana, can you show the ladies for me? Speaking of the importance of trees, I thought it's important that you should know about a movement that originated in India. In 1973, it really began. It's called the Chipko movement, or Chipko Andolan, forest conservation in India. It was in Uttarakhand. So you see the ladies there standing and holding hands around the trees. It is one of the a precedent for non-violent protests against logging. It was mainly women because the women were the ones who would be at home having to tend to the family and get firewood and all of these things. And the government wanted to clear that whole area, clear cut everything to put up a sporting good company. And the women decided no, that they were going to stand up. Simple rural villagers, they were going to stand up and protect their valuable trees. Look at the level of commitment. Remember, this is the same state that wanted protective status for the Ganges. And ultimately it was overturned. The state of Uttarakhand. I am doing this today because I want, apart from sensitizing everyone about the importance of the environment, and I will continue to do this, because we cannot be Hindus and not understand the importance and significance of what is around us. We cannot say that God is everywhere and we read the Bhagavad Gita and all of this, and yet still we degrade, we destroy, we defile. It has to stop. It has to stop. We have this disconnect that exists. It has to be bridged. We cannot continue like this. We say one thing and we I don't know if we pretend, and then we act in a very, very different manner. It's really shameful. And again, for parents, we need to do the right thing and teach our children to do the right thing. We often like to blame everybody, you know, if it is not the government, it's somebody else. Sometimes we need to take responsibility for our own actions. And it's about time we do it. So it doesn't have to be something very big. Very, you know, start small. We do all of these things, you know, World Environment Day and World Ocean Day and all of, yes. There's a reason that these things have come up. It is only to sensitize people and to make them aware. Make them aware. Make us all aware. So awareness is one thing, but it is whether we are going to do something about it. And that is exactly what is required now. It has become a fairly urgent issue because it's no longer, it is worse than a crisis. So with these few words, I say namaste and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Auntie Chansey. Very inspiring words to have us thinking when we go to the beach to clean up after ourselves. So at this point, I would like to ask Auntie Indra if she can do another bhajan for us, followed by Auntie Mala and Govind. Thank you.
Sitaram again, everyone. तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। तर राह देखा करके, उधार करो दुर्गा, उधार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, दर्शन हो माँ तेरे, सबकी अभिलाषा है, मन में रहो तुम सबकी, तुमसे यही आशा है। क्या मेरा क्या उसका, ये अपना पराया क्या, सर ज्योति जला करके रोशन करो जग सारा, रोशन करो जग सारा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, संसार तो माया है, कभी डूब कभी छाया है, एक दिन उसे जाना है, जो भी यहाँ आया है। क्या रंग है जीवन का, क्या रूप है माधव का, तुम ज्ञान बढ़ा करके उपकार करो दुर्गा, उपकार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का, सर राह देखा करके उद्धार करो दुर्गा, उद्धार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी। Sitaram again, everyone.
Sitaram. उठ जाग मुसाफिर भोर भाई, खबर न कहा जो सोवत है, जो जागत है सो पावत है, जो सोवत है सो खोवत है। तू का नींद से अकिया खोल जरा, और अपने ईश से ध्यान लगा, यह प्रीति करने की रीति नहीं, प्रभु जागत है तू सोवत है। उठ जाग मुसाफिर भोर भई, अब रे न कहा जो सोवत है, जो कल करना है आज कर ले, जो आज करना है अब कर ले, जब चिरूनी चुक की तलिया, फिर पछताए क्या होवत है। उठ जाग मुसाफिर भोर भाई, अब रे न कहा जो सोवत है। नादान भुगत करनी अपनी, ए पापी पाप में चैन कहा, जब पाप की घतरी शीश धरी, फिर शीश पकड़ क्यों रोवत है। उठ जाग मुसाफिर भोर भाई, अब रे न कहा जो सोवत है। सीताराम।
Sitaram, everyone. स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। भक्ति न जानो पल पल तुमको पुकारती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। सांसों का धागा आशा की माला, नैनों पे दीपक में प्यार मैंने जाना। पानी को ममता, पानी को ममता, तेरी और नजर निहारती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। हीरे न लाए मोती न लाए, काली हाथों ही द्वार तेरे आए। ज्योति आकंद तेरी हो, ज्योति आकंद तेरी सबके जीवन सवारती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। जोली भरे भरे जाके बादल, तब नहीं होता है सागर का जल। सबकी भर जोली हो, सबकी भर जोली पारस भी को उतारती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। स्वीकार करो जगदम्बे माँ मेरी आरती। सीताराम।
Thank you, Govin. So I'd like to ask Auntie Chance if she can do the last song for us, and then we will have our closing this evening by Salim. Thank you.
Namaste again, everyone. दया सुधा बरसाओ माता, जय 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 अम्बे। दया सुधा बरसाओ माता, जय 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 अम्बे। प्रेम सुधा बरसाओ माता, जय 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 अम्बे। देवी निरंजनी साई भवानी, देवी निरंजनी साई भवानी, जय 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 अम्बे। जय 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 अम्बे। साई जय 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 अम्बे। दया सुधा बरसाओ माता, जय 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 अम्बे। प्रेम सुधा बरसाओ माता, जय 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 अम्बे। देवी निरंजनी साई भवानी,
देवी निरंजनी साई भवानी जय 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 अम्बे जय 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 अम्बे साई जय 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 अम्बे दया सुधा बरसाओ माता जय 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 अम्बे नमस्ते
Thank you, Auntie Chancy. So now I'd like to ask Salim to do our closing prayer for tonight. Thank you.
Sitam Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chasaka Tvameva Tvameva Vedya Travinam Tvameva Tvameva Sadavam Mama Deva Deva Shanti Shanti Hare.
Thank you all very much. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and everyone for joining us this evening.